Okay, Mom, I'm gonna start, okay? Mom?
Huh? What did you say?
I said I'm starting, so. What is going on, fam? It's your girl, Abiola Akani, here with a new YouTube video. Welcome back, fam. I hope this video finds you well. We are continuing with our Yoga Teacher Tips series, which is a yoga series that I'm doing to support yoga instructors to be as well as current yoga instructors. So the question that I've got a few times on Instagram is, should I take another yoga teacher training? Meaning that you've taken one yoga teacher training and you were either extremely dissatisfied with that teacher training, or you are wanting to take another yoga teacher training just for your own personal education and to continue your exploration of your personal practice. The short answer is yes, definitely take another yoga teacher training if you feel like the first one missed the mark, or if you are just looking to continue your exploration of yoga studies. I will say that I took two 200-hour yoga teacher trainings. The very first one that I took was really focused on the physical practice of asana. So it was a 2-month intensive and it focused on vinyasa and hatha. So we were doing asana multiple times a day, but it also prepared me to teach intuitive and creative sequences that really felt good for different bodies. Now, the second 200-hour yoga teacher training that I took was the complete opposite. It was a 9-month yoga teacher training. It was really focused on the deeper study. Talked about the sutras. We talked about the Bhagavad Gita. We really went into the 8 limbs of yoga, the pranayama practices, different meditation practices. And I loved it for that reason, because I knew that I wanted to dive deeper into these other facets of the practice because I had already learned so much asana from the first one. I love that I took 2 different yoga teacher trainings. So I answer the short answer. Yes, you should take another training if your body and your heart and your soul is desiring you to do so. However, there's a few things that I want you to keep in mind if you are doing so. The first thing, honey, I'm not going to skirt around this, is that money hunty. If you are wanting to take another 200-hour yoga teacher training, I want you to consider, are you in a financial position to invest in the tuition for a 200-hour? Because they ain't cheap. They ain't cheap. For my first 200-hour yoga teacher training, I saved my tuition for that yoga teacher training from tips for my waitressing gig in a shoebox underneath my bed. For the second 200-hour yoga teacher training that I did, I got a scholarship. So if you are unable to afford a 200-hour yoga teacher training, you can always look into scholarships. There's a lot of scholarship programs out there, and it's not just the obvious ones. You can reach out to companies and brands like Lululemon. Some of these bigger brands have scholarship programs woven in them that a lot of people don't know about. So just do your research, ask questions, and find a YTT that maybe has a full or partial scholarship woven in. Because nobody wants to be worrying about mucho dinero when you are trying to do that inner work. When you get into a YTT, you don't want to be worrying about money. Number 2, get really clear. And I want y'all to hear me on this. Get super clear on what it was that you did not enjoy about the first YTT you took, and what is it that you're looking for in the next YTT. I think what tends to happen is a lot of students kind of lean on the YTT to answer these questions for them, so they don't ask the questions as to what it is that they're looking for, or get specific as to what you're looking for in a YTT and what you're hoping to get. The more specific and clear you get about that why, the more likely you are to find YTTs that align with that, because you have your why in mind. Just because a yoga teacher training is led by an African American, or is BIPOC led, or is led by someone who's non-binary or queer, or a racial or social group that you identify with, does not mean that you are going to resonate with their teachings. Don't put all your eggs in one basket just because they have one aspect of them that looks like you. Get really clear. Study the facilitators' line of thought or their practices or their approach to the practice of yoga, just to make sure it resonates with you. It's not enough that they might also be African American or queer, because that still doesn't guarantee that it's going to be in alignment for you. And I've had students myself who've come to our YTTs or YTTs in the past and have still been unsatisfied, even though they're African American, I'm African American, or I'm Nigerian American and they're Nigerian American. They still might be looking for something else that I'm not able to offer them. So really get clear about your why and study the facilitators to make sure that they're able to offer teachings that align with your why. Number 3. I'm just going to take a little sip of my coffee. A yoga teacher training is not going to heal you. A yoga teacher training gives you the tools to begin to do your own inner study so that you can begin to heal yourself, if that is a desire for you. I want you to really consider what was dissatisfying from the first YTT that you did. And if you feel like the teachings were lackluster, that's one thing. However, if you're looking for a yoga teacher training to basically change your life, or you're looking for the instructors to provide this life-changing experience, that's not how it works. A yoga teacher training and yoga facilitators in a training are not going to change your life. That's your responsibility to begin to do the self-study required to create change in your life in the areas that you are desiring. Facilitators and the training itself are just kind of space holders. And I think sometimes we put a lot of weight on yoga teacher trainings to do a lot more of the work that is actually personal work, that is actually our responsibility to be doing. So if you're looking into taking a second training, it's really a great opportunity for you to begin to dive deeper into yourself and take some of the weight and the responsibility off of the YTT and approach it from the lens of what practical tools about the science of yoga can this practice give me, specifically this YTT, so that I can really begin to implement these practices and rituals into my life to really expand my well-being. And I think once we begin to take that responsibility off of the YTT, knowing that it's not going to be able to live up to that expectations, we can really begin to expand into so much more that the training could offer. So y'all, that wraps today's video. I hope it was informative for you. Go ahead and put your comments below if you are in that position right now of looking for yoga teacher training number 2. If you're on the latter end and you haven't taken a training yet and you're really contemplating whether or not you are ready to become an instructor, I got a quiz for you. Head down below in the description box and click that yoga quiz that I have to help you decide if you are ready to become an instructor. Don't forget to follow your girl on the gram at Yoga by Biala and continue to be well. Bye y'all.